So you want to know how it started? How it all began? Well, I'll tell you this. When it gets to the end, I settle up with one of the plates of food. Hey, I'm interested in people with jobs, I cry out. Half off if it includes killing the undead. Moments later, I'm joined by two paladins, a cleric with a big shield, and some dubious-looking character also in a brown cloak. Included with them is the half-crazed one I spoke to just the other day. His name is Uriel, and he's been talking crazy to any person who will listen. Apparently, found a couple more crazies to go with him. He was going on and on and on, something about a shadow dragon and hordes of undead things, a brother's betrayal. I don't really get all of it. The dude said we would all be in grave trouble soon. Sure. This guy's probably about as crazy as I am. Which means he'll probably put up with my idiosyncrasies. Just on the off chance that this guy might actually be telling the truth. I hushed him a bit and said, you know, if what you're saying is true, I don't really want an angry mob to know that you're the brother to some evil warlord. I like my head atop my neck. You want to talk more about your crazy brother? Maybe we go next door, where they specialize in padded walls. That keeps personal matters a lot more personal. Seriously though, I mean, who lays their entire life story out in front of strangers? Well, I guess this bunch. The other paladin goes on and on about how he wishes to become a spellblade to the great service of his god Corellian. Makes sense for an elf, I guess. Sword, sorcery, that sort of thing. But geez, maybe I shouldn't have worn the holy symbol, the holy emblem. I did track a whole bunch of clergy types. The next one is some smith that took a love to the forge all the way to the clergy. She freaking loves the anvil so much she worships it as in, well, godhood. Maybe she can make a new dagger or some bolt heads if all this works out and we continue on together. The last crazy guy is a self-proclaimed trader. From the sand waste to the south, maybe I can learn a few things from him. But he's covered in a brown cloak from head to toe, some sort of creepy face mask that doesn't show much, and the only thing that I can really tell is he's got glowing red eyes. And unlike the rest of them, he's definitely not a priest. But if he is a trader, maybe that can lead me to a few more of my goals. He does carry a longsword, and for some reason he refers to us all as Richard. Sort of the shorthand of Richard, but still, well, I guess if everyone's calling each other's funny names, why not? He does this for everyone except for the dwarven lass. I tell them I'm largely a hunter from the nearby woods. I have a little magical prowess, and I specialize in ambushes. Due to my upbringing, between you and me, honestly, out of all these folks, I'm probably the only one who's ever killed someone. Maybe the other guy in the crazy mask has, but who knows? It's hard to tell anything behind that stone wall of a face. He says traitor, but nothing on him actually suggests any sort of marketing skill. He just chants this strange foreign phrase, Zuga, or something. Crazy fauna. Whatever. We can all go out together, and with this much strength, we should be able to tackle something from the board. Today's options, some Richie Fancy Pants noble has lost a kitty cat. There's 200 gold pieces. That's quite a bit, but if someone wants to waste a month's worth of wages on finding a lost cat, who am I to complain? Let's see here. The next one is old woman knows hearing scratches and noises under her house. 25 gold pieces. And old bat's probably batty, but the money's good. Especially for rat killing. Eliminate some hogs that are attacking and wrecking the harvest. 40 gold pieces. Guard a merchant caravan that's leaving town soon. This one's also for about 40 gold pieces. Honestly, I think the 200 gold piece one is the best of the job. I mean, lost little kitty cat. Okay, maybe the sign says that the cat is bigger than your average house cat, but really, honestly, how big could it possibly be? Everybody else is more interested in saving the little old lady, though. Do-gooders. I agreed to a quick check by her house, just on the off chance that there is actually undead to slay, and that afterwards the condition is that we will go check out more information about the reward on the very lucrative cat. So, while the merchant and the Shadowkin burial, I go up and ask the old lady questions. I do my professional business. I case the joint. I circle around outside for any signs of the cellar. Well, if something is scratching underneath the house, it's probably from a cellar or something. All I know is that the only thing I find is one lonely print of a cat. But this is definitely an ordinary cat, a very small print, not a large one. Sir Elvin Fancy Pants has been watching me during this time and decides to point out a nearby sewer grate. I suppose it can't hurt. Maybe they got some sort of passageway from the sewer that goes under the house. See? Maybe the thieves digging a tunnel up into the old lady's house. Something I would do. Open it up, grab a torch, and wave it down there. Can't be too careful, It's all dark and smelly, and, well, what did I expect for Sir? Me and Sir Fancy Pants, the elf, go down, step, step, step. The dwarven lady stays topside to let others know where we went. While I'm peering through the muck for tracks and looking for maybe a set of thieves' boot prints that could be rummaging around down here. Well, there it is. The biggest paw print of a cat I've ever seen. Well, quite possibly ever. Whatever it is, it's bigger than myself a couple times over. Meanwhile, our elven bladesters has found something quite quaint in the wall. It's a hidey hole for passing messages. A wax tablet carries a message about chicken soup and entering a dance. I've been round the block once or twice. The message really meant meet over at the summer's dance, same time as last week. I altered the message a bit so that it reads to meet at my little base of operations, the same time as last week. Just so you know, I'm a little bit on the precautious side. Okay, maybe a little bit eccentric. And by that I mean my home has over 40 traps personally designed by yours truly. The moment that they got there, ideally it would be pow. And any thieves doing this shenanigans ought to be carrying something really nice and shiny on them. Plus, I'm not about to murder folk in front of the goody two-shoes brigade. Well, not unless I can claim self-defense at least. I do have the innocent face of a youth rolled on my face. I look younger than I actually am. Should be good to have it up in front of the right people. I mean, I'm weak and I definitely need some protection. I need others also to want to protect me. Soon after the others have joined us, hearing about the cat print, they grinned widely. The others are starting to feel it too. Yes, the thrill of the hunt and the idea of money bags are dancing in their eyes. Maybe we're not all that different after all. The self-proclaimed holy men, myself. The merchant reminds me that we will need to be back by sundown to check out the scratching noises for the old lady. Whatever. We have bigger game to attend to, bigger game afoot. We wind through the sewers and follow the tracks of these paw prints stop being paired with handprints on the wall. A werewolf, a werecat, a lycanthrope. I haven't dealt with these things much, and the only plaything I have on me that's silver is a mirror. Great for looking around corners, but not so much for knocking a person over the head with. The trail stops at a ladder, leading back up to the street. At this point, the merchant is scrounging in some rotten barrel nearby, tossing filthy rags into the air as he scavenges. I start to get the feeling he's the type that plunders abandoned battlefields and tosses fresh graves for his new products. Maybe that's how he makes his way as a merchant. After all, dead people don't really need the things. Oh, he's shrieking in delight and motions everyone else to come over. While they're distracted for a moment, I check for another thieves' message alcove. Sure enough, by this entrance, there's another one. I quickly change it to match my previous message and go to join them. In the bottom of the barrel was a hidden catch, a false bottom. Hidden inside was a trade book written in thieves' cant. again with the chicken noodle soup. Seriously, I think you'd be able to come up with a different term other than noodle soup. Someone's mother was a chef. But it also included two things as well. A nice little shiny gem for starters. Oh, I do love gems. And some picture books they kept out of my sight. I think the lady, the dwarven one, blushed. When I asked to check it out for hidden misses, Fancy Pants and Burial just insisted that it wasn't for my eyes. Whatever. I asked the merchant if he really intends to steal from the thieves. To keep the shiny gem in the book. Oh, he nods rather feverishly. I sigh. Okay. Let's make sure that whoever comes looking for that doesn't come looking for us. I might be a bit cowardly, but whatever. Burial volunteers a javelin, and we get to work on a classic swinging log type trap. Surprisingly, they're all quite helpful in this endeavor. Well, Fancy Pants also has a set of thieves' tools to aid in the construction. The dwarf even blessed me on my efforts. I mean, here we are robbing some smoke and laying down a trap to take his life when he comes back for his, well, admittedly, ill-gotten gains. But I guess it's all okay if you're stealing from a quote-unquote bad guy. The last guy in the brown robe was trying to read the picture book, but I don't think he's the brightest of the bunch. After all, he was holding books sideways. Yes, this picture book he was holding it sideways. And everyone knows that's not how you read a book. Whatever, we helped him keep his ill-gotten gains. After our foray, we sneaked up the ladder. I poked my head out the grate covering the sewers. There's the lycanthrope, nervously checking out in the street, looking back and forth. He's dressed in rags, and's got an iron collar about his neck, on his hands, and perhaps they used it to restrain him during his transformation process. If we don't stop him soon, maybe he'll kill someone. Not that that would be a terrible thing, I'd get to pick their pockets, but maybe the reward would go down if he gets injured. So, looking back and forth, I tried to convince the others to sneak up there with me, and signal the guy in heavy armor, Ariel, to stay still. Well, he makes enough noise to raise the dead without casting a spell. I hate the dead, and dead. Anyways, we all get out of the suit crate, and all of us silent ones, we surround him. I pull out my silver mirror just in case. Once we're all in position, Ariel approaches, and the furball backs up against the wall. All right, we got him. But then everyone else demurs. He's a slave. We can't just turn him in. I'm all, why not? I forgot to do something about not missing out on my share of 40 gold. Whatever it is, I'm amendable, but I still want my gold. Oh, let's help him, say another. Well, it seems I am severely outvoted on this one. After they tell me he's not actually a lycanthrope character, he's just something called a tabaxi, whatever that is. Well, okay, he's just another person, not a cursed being. After hearing this sob story about being tied up in the dark and being used as material components for blood rituals or something, I felt something for once. For this guy. Okay, hear me out, folks. How about we just cut off this guy's ear and turn that in? Say he's dead. Chastised by the dwarf, she quickly reminds me that the tabaxi is right in front of me. I hushed, but honestly, making the suggestion right in front of him was kind of the point. I mean, we'd have to get him to agree to cutting off his ear before turning it in and trying to claim at least some of the bounty. Make everyone believe that he was dead is what I was thinking. But I don't really explain this to the others. I merely reply with, well then, if we're doing this, I have a spot outside of town where we can rest for the night. Guards don't know where it is. I've booby-trapped the hell out of it, so anyone who wants to follow us or force their way in will likely get done in. Now, perhaps we'll take my robes here off and let the cat person here wear them. That way it's a little harder to see your uniqueness. Everyone agrees. I take off my robe, showing that I'm fully outfitted with a bit of leather armor that I'd been wearing underneath. The tabaxi quickly dons the robe, though it's a bit too small on him. I'm only about 5 feet tall, and he was a few inches taller. Now that he's someone less obvious to be of a strange type, all we have to do is jump this wall and we're out of town. Yes, we're right near the edge of it, but it is a 12-foot tall wall. Now, this is obviously meant mostly to keep out wolves and the like, instead of keeping anyone in or repelling any kind of serious force of arms. Mr. Merchant scales the wall quite easily. We toss him the rope, but for the life of him he has a hard time figuring out what to tie it to. The sconce was lit and he was trying to tie it off to that. Impatient and not particularly wanting my rope burned, I grab onto the edge of it and try to climb up, promptly falling on my ass as the rope slips out of my hand. And partially I did that because, well, he let the rope slip out of his hand. Impatiently, I toss it back up to him. And This time, he actually manages to tie it off to a secure point. Or at least, I thought so when I started to go up the wall. And the rope slid away again. Apparently you can climb something quite easy, but that doesn't mean you can tie knots at all. You'd think as a merchant he'd be able to after tying down cargo, but no. Fortunately, this time for me, I only had one hand on the rope to help me up. As the rope slipped to the wayside, I managed to climb up onto the parapet. He shrugs. When the rope is tossed a third time, I take some decent precautions and tie a steady knot. About this time, we hear a noise from the sewers, where someone cries out in pain. Our earlier trap had found its mark. Sir Uriel grabs the manacles on the tabaxi's hands and forces them off with an impressive feat of strength in one quick motion. Remind me not to get on his bad side, as he could probably bend and break me in half if he can break manacles with his bare hands. Hannah, the dwarven mistress, starts dragging a potted plant over to help secure the grate down. I get down from the wall and go over to help her. I pass the elf while doing so. He's quickly just scampering up the wall, and he's more than ready to get out of here. But I, along with Hannah, managed to manipulate the pot so that when the grate is open, the plant will fall onto the unsuspecting person. A nice fall should then ensue afterwards. As they fall down several feet into the sewers and fall off the ladder, maybe anybody else who's falling will also get caught up in the loveliness. By this time, Mr. Kitty, his words, not mine, has gotten up the wall along with Burial. The dwarf and I joined them as the cursing intensifies below. We managed to get over the wall before the grate actually opens. And we head away off to my bungalow. Now, the burrow was owned by my previous masters. A real shitty place, buried into the hillside. Not too far away from some of the main roads and traveling places in the area. Two of them cross just the north and to the east of this place, which made it great for certain activities. A window marks the entrance with a circle of fanfare. And outside there are multiple fire pits where I've been burning some trash. A little place in the middle of nowhere, and home stinking home. Fancy Pants inquires about the burning material as I pull up on the hidden latch at the bottom of the door. Oh, it was just some things I needed to get rid of, and I'm a little obsessed with the light. That's all I respond to his question with, though fortunately he doesn't take a closer look and realize that there's bodies inside those fire pits. Home sweet home. Now friends. Now, when we're inside, don't touch anything, especially not the chests. I know that all of you are probably very fond of grabbing chests whenever you see them, but at this time frame you should restrain yourselves. Especially if you don't want your holiness to be literally holy. I swing the door open, and inside there's a plethora of candles, torches, and black thread tied into different sized spider webs. The merchant asks, "Are you okay, man?" I just smile and reply, "Of course I'm okay. We haven't fought anything in hand-to-hand combat all day, after all." All of them are giving me this sort of really intense, odd look. Some are just looking at the black thread. Where did you get all this thread? I reply, honestly for once, a family heirloom. It never runs out. I navigate them to the rear of the barrow, and that once slept 20 to 30 people. Hannah asks about the privy. Gives me a rather disgusted look as I motion to the chamber pots in the room. Sir Fancy Pants is like, how about we get that collar off the poor tabaxi? I assist with undoing the collar. Mr. Fancy Pants notices a strange marking on the collar. He must something about the goddess of lies and illusions. I hurriedly place the magical thing on top of a pit trap nearby. I was lucky enough to find an old abandoned well, about 40 feet deep. With a little bit of time and effort, I had managed to cover it up into a nice little trap. And pit trap, occasionally I would catch a deer with it, and the pelts would sell quite nicely. For now, though, this thing with the strange rune markings is going on top of the pit trap. If anyone's going to be scrying for the location of this beastie, then hopefully they'll find just the spot in the middle of the woods. And if they send out, well, slavers are never the nicest sort. Especially in a land where it's forbidden, it's not allowed. If any one of them are coming, I'd rather not deal with them. But the collar, set squarely in the trap, doesn't weigh enough to cause it to give way. But if anyone tries to move or pick it up, they'll likely have a nice long drop. Yes, a very nice long drop. The merchant apparently has followed me out here and mutters something about finding eggs. More about this egg things. We assist each other, and he manages to find an unattended nest of eggs. We head back to the burrow with everyone else, and after a quick meal of stewed rabbit, eggs, a few nuts, each of them starts getting ready to turn in for the night, except for burial. I'd like to see your room. Well, whatever. before I let them into the house. I suppose I can let them see one more room. I open it up, and inside there's a calendar lit with very long candles meant to be able to burn throughout the entire night, and a simple bed and a chest. The walls are far more artistic and less mundane than everything else, for I covered them with a dark black cloth. And then every piece of glass that I could find and shiny bit was attached to this black cloth. Yes, the entire room was lined with poorly made mirrors to amplify the light. Just takes a deep breath. Right. I'm just going to sleep over here, then Alice. Once he's gone, I trap the door behind him so I can sleep in peace. Can't be too careful these days. I just met these fellows at a tavern, after all. For all I know, they might be crazy lunatics. Might be gnomes in disguise. All of them. I open up the old, torn and messed up book that contained my master's old notes. Well, now they're my old notes. The heist, the notes on Arcana, some things that I wrote down about Lathander. Useful gnomes notes, yes, but tricksy gnomes are. In the morning, we check our snares in the sewers. 2 dead little rabbits. Oh, but not much game on them, and the bodies had been dragged elsewhere. We managed to find one, but not the other. Looks like they had more friends than we originally thought that might be there. Based on things, it looks like the local thieves' bunch. But was so enthralled and hurting towards the old lady's house that none of us remembered to really pick his pockets before going. And the spear's gone. That was a nice spear. It was my spear. But it was a nice one. Shame that it got used up. Everything else is probably gone too. Finally, traipsing down there in all sorts of unspeakable, unholy smells. We march our stanking arses up to the door of the old lady. I imagine she was able to smell us before we even knocked on the door. It was horrendous. But the kindly half-orc answers the door and mutters something about omelets for breakfast. I mean, blazes, she's a rich bitch. Nice, though, that she invites us to join her for breakfast. After merchant tells her that, she's told that there were some local thieves darting about under her house in the sewers. She's all, oh dear heavens, and oh my goodness. He quickly reassures her that there are a few less down there now, and the rest should avoid the area. She says something about the reward being 20 gold. But I always like to be doubly sure on anything that I do. So I asked if we can just double check things inside the house, just to make doubly sure. Oddly enough, she lets 5 strange people smelling of manure and dead bodies wander into her house. Now, and at this point, I should probably mention that we kind of forgot to scrape our boots. Just outside the main room is where she's having her little breakfast soiree. Over in the main room is where we find a fireplace and a stairwell to the loft. A few ways to other rooms on the base level, and the fireplace is one of the ones that are meant in such a way for baking and cooking, and meant to help heat up the entirety of the house. We check along the floors, and sure enough, there was a squeak. We check on it. Odd floorboards in a spot in the wall have been replaced. Immediately, the merchant decides to try and charge it at full speed, and only barely stopped by both me and Uriel. While we're trying to calm down this excitable merchant, the elf pulls a lever over by the fireplace, and it opens. It swerves off to the side, revealing a ladder underneath. And this lever that he pulled, it looked nothing more than like a loose brick or something in the fireplace. It's really dark underneath the fireplace. And Uriel, blessed be, brings some light to the situation. At the bottom of the ladder is what appears to be a slide that goes down. Sort of a slipping scenario. I get to the bottom of the rung, and I tie off my rope again. And, well, I do enjoy a good slide. I slid almost all the way to the bottom and just poked my head out where it looked like it was going to open up into a wide room. At that point, I saw a spider larger than the size of a horse just staring at me from the darkness, its 8 beady eyes trained on me. So, what did this brave adventurer do? What do you think I did? I yelled, "Nope, nope, 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 nope," and I climbed back up. The rest of the party says that they should truly eliminate this pest from the old lady's house. But how we went about that is a tale for another time. So, I bid thee all adieu, and if you liked these little ramblings, this little storytelling, this off the cuff type thing, please hit the like and subscribe button below. And perhaps the next time we'll give you a little more of the history of the envoy to the dragon. Ta-ta, and sleep well.